It's pretty crazy how our government will do more to stop people criticizing the Israeli government under the lies of anti-Semitism than they will actually do for actual anti-Semitism by Nazis. Because when Nazis march in the streets, you don't have the same kind of reaction by our government compared to when you have people protesting against the United States funding and arming the Israeli government and their genocide.
Happening right now, the House Committee on Education and Workforce is conducting a hearing on ending anti-Semitism on college campuses. This is the House Education Committee's 9th hearing on anti-Semitism in 18 months. CBS News correspondent Chanel Call has been listening in to the hearing all morning. And Chanel, what have you heard so far?
Well, it's still underway this hour, Muko. Good to see you. So today, leaders, that is, from Georgetown, the City University of New York, and the University of California, Berkeley, they will all be there answering questions from lawmakers about really how they're addressing these accusations of anti-Semitism on college campuses. The chair of this committee, Muko, Republican Congressman from Michigan, Tim Walberg, he said the purpose of this hearing today is really to find out why anti-Semitism was able to, quote, take over campuses after the October 7th attack. He said the committee would look closely at student groups, faculty unions, Middle Eastern studies centers, foreign funding, and DEI ideology, alleging.
Wow, so foreign funding and DEI ideology, that's like two things you think is causing anti-Semitism to crop up on campuses? No. Speaking out against a government is not racism. You cannot call people criticizing the Israeli government for committing a genocide as anti-Semitic because it is not anti-Semitic whatsoever. And again, you can have Nazis marching in the streets. You can have a full-on 1 million Nazi march, and a government wouldn't react the same way they would to people criticizing the Israeli government, because this isn't about anti-Semitism, it's about silencing people criticizing the Israeli government.
Basically that those factors encouraged anti-Semitic activism on campus. We also heard from the committee's top Democrat, Representative Robert Scott of Virginia. He this morning, Mugo, basically criticized Republicans for claiming to be concerned about hate speech on campuses, but not addressing hate that other groups face. He also argued, Mugo, that the Trump administration's cuts to the Department of Education essentially undermine the government's work to crack down on all this civil rights abuses that are being alleged to have happened on campus. Here's more on all of this from Matt Nosenchuk, formerly from the Office of Civil Rights and the Department of Education. Listen.
This administration boasts it is combating anti-Semitism while systematically dismantling the infrastructure needed to do it. They've gutted OCR, the office with the expertise and mandate to enforce Title VI, closing most of its regional offices and cutting staff in half. Thorough investigations are impossible. OCR dismissed over 3,400 complaints in just 3 months, an unprecedented number suggesting students in harm's way are being ignored. The administration relies on press reports rather than actual complaints from harmed students, sending ultimatums styled as notices of violation, riddled with inaccuracies and political hyperbole. The current approach reminds me of the Wizard of Oz, projecting an intimidating, demanding, and illusory image of action. But here, the man behind the curtain cancels funds for civil rights enforcement and cancer research. Fighting anti-Semitism is actually the camel's nose under the tent for ideological assaults on universities that have undertaken extensive efforts to address the problem.
So, Mugo, these hearings are really key because they sort of tell us how these leaders of those institutions feel about anti-Semitism and really the extent to which they're going to go to clamp down on this. You'll remember some of the previous sessions with this House committee have led to some pretty contentious exchanges, some pretty spicy moments. including when the presidents of Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania sort of stumbled to try to clearly answer questions about whether they might discipline students on those campuses who were calling for the genocide of Jewish people. So we'll keep a
Who was like it's wild how the U.S. media will claim that being against the genocide by the Israeli government of Palestinians is somehow calling for the genocide of Jewish people, because that is not the same thing whatsoever. Being against a genocide does not mean you support a genocide of the other side. It just means you're against the genocide that one side is doing. That would be like saying that uh, people during World War II against the genocide by Nazi Germany were calling for the genocide of white German Christians. Like, that's not what people were calling for. They were calling for the end of the genocide